Hello, everybody. My name is Travis, and this is the Daily Travesty. And today we are moving away from the Magic the Gathering content, and we're actually going to be talking about a different card game that I've been getting into over the last month or so called Flesh and Blood. Now, this is a card game that you might have heard of if you've been in any of the forums or on Channel Fireball or anything like that. It's only a couple years old, but it's making a lot of waves in the TCG community, and it's a ton of fun to play. What it is not easy to do with Flesh and Blood is figure out what all of the jargon means. When I was trying to get into it, there's a lot of words and terms that were different, especially when compared to Magic, and I was kind of lost. So what I thought I would do is make a video to help people that are looking for how to actually get into the game and where to play it. This is not a how to play video. There's plenty of those that you can find on YouTube or on the internet. This is specifically what do the terms mean so that I can go and play this game. So Flesh and Blood jargon, where to play the game. First off, what is FAB? Well, this is our first term, FAB, that's the acronym for Flesh and Blood. Basically, it's like a 1v1 hero battle, kind of like League of Legends, but it's a card game. So basically, you play as a hero, your hero has equipment, and you fight a different hero and try to reduce their life to 0. And the background here is actually what the playmats look like. So you're going to have a hero that you play as that can have 1 or 2 weapons, depending on if they're one-handed or two-handed. And you're going to have some bits of equipment. You can see you have head, chest, arms, leg armor. And then you have a deck of cards which represent your abilities. Again, this isn't a how to play video, but I have to introduce the game in order to start talking about the jargon involved. So this is an example. Maybe you choose Dorinthia as your hero and you pick Dawnblade as your weapon. This is a 2-handed sword that warriors can use. And you might have something like this iron wrought plate as your equipment that helps block against your opponent's attacks. Now, FAB itself is a game that was released about 2 years ago, so October 2019, by a company in New Zealand called Legend Story Studios. And so if you ever are looking at FAB information and you see LSS, that's what they're talking about. They're basically just talking about the company that makes the game, kind of like WotC or Wizards of the Coast makes Magic. LSS is the company that makes Flesh and Blood. And the entire purpose behind Flesh and Blood, or one of the driving factors, was to make a game that people could play in person against each other. Legend Story Studios seems to be putting a lot of support into in-person play, big tournaments, getting a community of people together. There's no faceless online client that they're promoting right now. They really just want people to play together. Now, you can play on the internet. Usually how you'll do this is through Discord servers, and you can play webcam games against people, but you still have to talk to those people and interact with them. And that's something I really like about it. If you want to learn how to play, there are lots of intro videos on the internet. The Legend Story Studios YouTube channel is called Flesh and Blood TCG, and they have a good video on there getting you into the game. So you can just go check out the official channel there. Their official website is fabtcg.com, and there's also a ton of other great content creators that are releasing stuff for Flesh and Blood. So these are a couple that I've really been enjoying. DM Armada, Hometown TCG, Red Zone Rogue, Team Covenant. There's a whole bunch of other ones as well, but those are the ones that I have been using. All right, playing the game. What does it mean to actually play this game, and what are some of the terms involved with it? When I was first trying to get into it, I was trying to figure out what kind of events I could go to, what were the local events I could get to, and these are the words that I ran into. So LGS, Armory events, Armory kits, and I was really confused what these meant because the game deals with armor and equipment and weapons and heroes, and I wasn't really sure how this related to the game. Turns out these are the stores that you are going to. So local game store, that's the same as Magic. It's just LGS, local game store. And in Flesh and Blood, they call their local game stores armories. So this is an example. This is a picture of Shoebox Games in Calgary, where I live. I've been there to play a couple times. It's a lot of fun. And that's what an armory is. It's essentially a local game store where you can pick up product and play in different events. As such, an Armory event is the lowest tier of competitive play. This is kind of like your Friday Night Magics, your FNMs, or Sunday drafts or whatever. So if your armory or local game store is running an event, it's called an armory event. And there's usually a couple of these every week, depending on which city you live in. So you can go to multiple of these every week. Armory kits, on the other hand, these are simply the monthly prizing that the armories get. So when you go to your casual store events, there's promo cards you can win, or playmats, or posters, and all kinds of stuff that they give out. That's what the stores are getting from the company, from LSS, to give out to players. So if you see a post talking about an armory kit, it just means the stuff that you can win or potentially get given for free if you go to those events. All right, moving on. This is an example of an armory kit here. So you can see there's playmats that they give out. There's special promo cards. Sometimes they have special foiling on them. Cold foils, that's something that's really big and associated with Flesh and Blood. I'm not going to be talking about those in this video, but I'll talk about them in a different video. Posters, so all kinds of cool stuff that you can get from the armory kits. There are also online armories, so stores that sell product online and host tournaments online. Again, because Flesh and Blood is meant to be played with paper cards exclusively, you can play online, but it's usually through webcam games via Discord servers. So there are some online armories that will run events, and you can play people kind of all around the world. I mean, I've only been playing for a month, and I've played people from Hungary and from the United States, lots of people from Canada because that's where I'm from. But you can interact with people from all over the place. I think I played a guy from New Zealand once, people in the UK, just all over the place. It's really cool, really nice community building atmosphere around this game. Our next bit of jargon is the GEM account, so GEM. If you are trying to do events, people are going to tell you that you need a GEM account. This is the event management program that the Flesh and Blood events use. It's kind of like getting a DCI number for Magic, but this platform also allows people that host tournaments to run tournaments. So as a player, really what you're doing when you get a GEM account is you get a player ID that lets you track your experience points and wins throughout your history in the game. And you also report your matches using this tool. So even though you might be going into your local game store, your armory, to play a game, you sit there, you play your game against someone, and then when someone wins, you both go on to the website, fabtcg.com. That's the official website for the game. And you report your match results online rather than handing in a little slip of paper or something to someone in the event. Sometimes you do that anyway. I mean, the people that run the events have the ability to track results, but you can also do it through your phone. And those are the two things you're getting with your GEM account. Basically, the ability to sign up for events, you get a player ID, and you can report your matches. And they give you a nice little tracking of your progress so far. So at this point in time, I've competed in 8 events, 18 wins. Doesn't say how many losses, which is good. And it also tracks your XP, your experience points that you've gained. Now, there's 2 different ways that experience points are tracked in this game. There is a lifetime experience, and they'll show you your rank compared to presumably the rest of the world. Maybe it's the country. I'm not really sure how that works. But they'll also give you your 90-day experience. And there's certain big events that you can qualify for using a 90-day experience point window. So like an example of that was recently they had the Canadian National Tournament in November, and the 90-day period that you could qualify for it, I think it was in the summer. It was like June, July, and August. So it's basically 3 months that every event you play in gives you experience towards qualifying for a bigger tournament. You get 3 XP for every win that you get. So that's pretty simple. There are also other special tournaments called skirmish events that you can go to. These ones are slightly more competitive than the local armory events, but they're basically the same thing. They're still run at a casual level, rules-wise. They're a lot of fun. The attraction to go to these events is that the prizing is different. So you can see here, this is an example of skirmish prizing. Again, just different playmats, more promo cards with different foiling on them. And these are considered to be again, a big draw for people that are trying to get into the competitive scene but are still playing at the local store level. They offer more experience, like 6 XP per win, so you get double experience. And the seasons for Skirmish happen 4 times during the year, so quarterly. As an example, this past month was Skirmish season, and I went to, I think, 3 or 4 different events between Calgary and Edmonton for that. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of people come out for these. It's slightly more competitive because the prizing is more exclusive or a little bit better. So people usually bring their best decks they can to these, and you get to meet a lot of people at them. It's kind of like the game days for Magic, but it happens throughout like an entire month, which is pretty cool. After you pass the Armory event and Skirmish level, you get into more competitive tournaments. There's a whole bunch of different names for these. The Calling, I think, is what would be most familiar to players who are experienced with Magic. This is kind of like your Grand Prix events, your GP events, where you have, a couple hundred or 1,000 people going somewhere to play a more competitive tournament that has much bigger prizes. These high-level events give out cash prizing. They give out professional tournament invites, PTIs, which let you go to your national events or pro tour events. And these events here are still open to the public. So it's sort of the highest tier of play you can go to just by paying. There's also events called ProQuest and Road to Nationals. Road to Nationals specifically events that help you qualify for your national events in your country. But yeah, so Calling, ProQuest, Road to Nationals. These events let you qualify for national events, pro tour events, world events, these kinds of things, but they're still open to the public. And anything beyond that requires an invite. So if you go to these kind of events and you get these professional tournament invites, you can then use those to get entry to national events, like I said, worlds, pro tour, that kind of stuff. So there's a quick summary of some of the jargon we looked at in this video. FAB, Flesh and Blood, it's a new game, it's great, you should definitely try it out if you like card games. LSS is Legend Story Studios, that's the company that makes the game. And then your armories are your local game stores, and they run several different kinds of events, including armory events, skirmishes. Those are your lower tier competitive events that you can just go to, meet some new people, have a nice time. And in order to play in those events, you are going to need a gem account, which gives you a player ID and a way to report your matches online when you play them. That's going to be it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. This has been the Daily Travesty, and I hope you give Flesh and Blood a try. It's been a ton of fun, a lot of skill required in this game, a lot of strategic choices, and just a ton of fun to play, and really nice people, really nice community of people playing this game. So definitely check it out if you get the chance. Other than that, I'll chat to you all later.